I was wrong. This is Vistrip. The Hangman by Jack Heath. I said the again. Doggone it. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to go over the two books that have advanced to the mystery thriller finals for the TBR tournament that I totally made up. And I'm going to tell you why I want to read each of those books, and I'm going to ask you to decide the final winner. So mystery thriller was the genre that I had the most input, the most votes from out of the four genres, which doesn't surprise me at all because this is a mystery thriller place. This is where I talk most frequently about mystery thrillers, and from the interactions that I've had with my subscribers, they are all about those books. So while I have people who are fans of horror and I have folks who really also like romance, it feels like mystery thriller is almost the foundation of this channel. Whether that was intentional or not remains to be seen, but mystery thriller is what people come to see, and it's definitely the genre that received the most votes. 18 people weighed in on which mystery thriller books should advance to these finals, and those winners were Hangman by Jack Heath and The Chestnut Man by Soren Sveistrup. So as with nonfiction, what I'm going to do is tell you why I want to read each of these books, what compelled me to add them to this tournament, and then leave it up to you to decide. I'm not going to advocate for one or the other, just telling you what I'm looking forward to about each book. First is Hangman by Jack Heath. And this is an interesting story because last year in 2019, when I was looking up books for an anticipated releases video, I stumbled on a book called Just One Bite by Jack Heath. And it sounded so good, so fascinating. I couldn't wait to read it. Unfortunately, Just One Bite was book 2 and Hangman was book 1. So I wasn't going to do that to myself. I wasn't going to jump in and read a book 2 before I'd read the first one. I mean, that's never a good time. So I purchased Hangman then and there and promised myself I would read it so that I could get to Just One Bite. Now, I don't want you to take that information and think, oh, she doesn't want to read this. That's not true. I want to read Hangman for similar reasons to why I wanted to read Just One Bite, which is I am sick and twisted. Kind of. I really enjoy some level of inappropriateness in my mysteries and thrillers. There's something that comes through in the synopses of Jack Heath's books that make them sound funny. So what Jack Heath is doing is he's taking something that's pretty gruesome, pretty sinister sounding, but introducing a bit of humor to it. I like that. I also am a big fan of morally gray characters that either do the right things for the wrong reasons or do the wrong things for the right reasons, etc. And of course, this book is about someone who saves people but also kills people, and that has morally gray written all over it. I've also had a very brief but encouraging interaction with the author who saw one of my videos where I believe I hauled this book and said, hey, you know, thanks for mentioning it. I really hope you like it, kind of a thing. And so I've always wanted to read it, but I do now feel like I want to read it sooner. Like I want to just dive into this and really find out if it is as phenomenal and amazing as I've played it out to be in my mind. I probably am hyping it up a bit too much. I probably need to chill out a little bit, because if I do get my hopes up for this story too hard, then it could go badly. But that's where my expectations are. Like, I'm already excited, and I just feel like this might be an unknown gem. Like, I haven't heard people talk about this book. I haven't seen anybody else mention it. And granted, I don't see and hear everything, but this would just be a book that I'm really proud to present to you and say, hey, this is really worth your time, if that is in fact the case. And its competitor is The Chestnut Man. In the entire semifinal round, The Chestnut Man is the book that received the most votes, period. And I can't say that I'm surprised, because I'm really not. This is a well-known book. This is a pretty hyped book. This was a book of the month book. This book had a really high rating for a mystery thriller novel, especially a crime thriller. And it's me and The Chestnut Man have a funny history, because this was offered as a book of the month immediately after I read The Whisper Man by Alex North, which incidentally was also a book of the month. So back to back, they were book of the months. I read The Whisper Man as an arc, and then picked up the book of the month copy to have permanently. And then the next month there was The Chestnut Man. And don't get me wrong, like, up one side and down the other, everything about The Chestnut Man screams, I need to read this. But the problem was, I just read The Whisper Man and I loved it. I loved The Whisper Man. I loved the writing. It was just not a typical crime thriller. And I felt after reading it, it made all the other crime thrillers look bad. I felt like I had just read this, but what I had just read I liked so much that I was concerned that this would be a bad idea. I couldn't read another crime thriller novel after just reading one of the best crime thriller novels I'd ever read. I don't know that I would have done right by The Chestnut Man. So I didn't pick it up. I skipped that month in book of the month. And then slowly and one at a time, I had a couple of different subscribers say, well, are you going to read The Chestnut Man? Have you read The Chestnut Man? I just read The Chestnut Man. It was amazing. I want to hear your thoughts on it. I want to know what you think. And my interest just slowly began to build. In a later month, I revisited my decision to purchase The Chestnut Man, and I picked it up as a book of the month extra, because I'm not immune to hype. I'm not immune to other people's opinions. I don't often get influenced by other people's opinions because I don't have a chance to hear a ton of other people's opinions. I'm so busy. But I don't, if you haven't picked up on it, like, the more somebody says they love a book, or the more somebody says they hate a book, or, I mean, all of those things just slowly push me towards that book, whether that's the original commenter's intention or not. And people are talking about this. There's a buzz about this. Yet I haven't heard too much about it. I haven't heard so much about this that I'm spoiled. I haven't heard so much about this that I have way high expectations. I don't know anything about this book, nor have I sought out any specific information about this book other than what's in the synopsis, and other than my subscribers saying, hey, is this book on your radar? Which immediately puts a book on my radar. So, and in my pursuit to find out how to pronounce the author's name, learned a couple of interesting things about Soren Sveistrup. Like, he's primarily a film and television writer, and that gives me great hope for the book, because, and this is, I'm getting way off on a tangent here, but just bear with me. I wasn't raised a reader. You know, there were a couple of books in my childhood that I can really remember that really stand out, like Wayside School, anything by Shel Silverstein, Hatchet, Where the Red Fern Grows, etc. But I wasn't raised by diehard readers. But I did, on the other hand, have this insane love for television, and when I was little, like, to the point where I watched so much television when I was little that the adults in my life feared for what I would become. They were convinced I was going to, you know, It sounds terrible. They're lovely people, but they were convinced that I was never going to accomplish anything other than learning how to sit on a couch and watch television. That is not the case. And I've learned to see the benefits in watching television in moderation. But anywho, I say all that to say, or my first love of storytelling came from TV and film, not from books, not from long novels. I always like to see a screenwriter transition to a novelist. I think that they think more about perception. And I don't, that's not meant to be good or bad. I just think that when a screenwriter approaches a writing project, that they probably think more about how it will be perceived than just necessarily telling the story. Oh my gosh, why am I talking about all of this? Your choices, once again, are Hangman. Not the Hangman, just Hangman and the Chestnut Man. So let me know down in the comment section below which of these two books you'd like to see me read. Also, while you're down there, type in the title of the book. Give me a couple of reasons why it's your choice. Why is it the book that you most want to see win in this genre? I'm super excited to know that as well, and I cannot wait to find out which book you guys vote for. Please also tell me if you want a reveal video where I just tell you what the winners are in a very exciting fashion, or if you would rather not hear what the winners are until after I've read the books. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon.